is that noise? I'd complain more, but I don't even know what that is. Hello humans, my name is Dale Kingsmill, and today I am back, hopefully properly this time. I started making videos again after a bit of a hectic period of not posting a couple weeks ago, and then immediately after that I got sick and there was next to no internet in a lot of Australia for about a week and a half. I don't know, it's just, the world's just ganged up on me again. So, I'm sorry, but here's another video. A fairy tale, in fact. It is time for another fairy tale, so let's get straight on with it. Once upon a time, there was a king who had been married to his gorgeous and wise and charming wife for many, many years. They had a daughter who was getting older now. And not only a daughter, but also a prized donkey. It had the prime position in his stables, surrounded by thoroughbreds and all sorts, because this donkey, it pooped gold, my friends. This donkey was his pride and joy, his favorite thing in all the world, but we will come back to that later. Unfortunately, this king's wife got sick, and she could tell that the end was near. But before she died, she made the king promise. She said, "My husband, come closer. Make me a promise. I need you to promise me that you will find another wife after I'm gone. But only like a wife who's as beautiful and as smart and as charismatic as I am, though, because, like, you don't want to make a step down. Promise me. That way you can find an heir to the throne, not just our daughter. Promise me you will remarry, but only a woman that fits that description. Okay?" And the king said, "Geez, yes, I promise, alright." And so the queen was able to die happy because she thought to herself, "Ah, yes, I looked real good just then telling him that he should definitely find love again. But also, I think I put in enough qualifiers that he won't be able to find a wife who matches." Because let's face it, who is prettier, smarter, and better at people than I am? No one. Unfortunately though, she didn't predict that after she had died, and the king was being pressured by all of his advisors to find a new wife and have an heir with her, the king, determined to keep his promise, found that there was only one solution to keeping the promise and getting remarried. The only woman in all the land he could think of who could possibly be as beautiful, as wise, and as charming as his own wife was, is their daughter. Not okay! Not okay! The daughter was freaked out by this. The princess straight up ran to the grove where her fairy godmother lived, the grove of coral and pearl, and said, "What the hell am I supposed to do? My own dad is trying to marry me. What?" Thinking quickly, the fairy godmother said, You don't want to make him angry because he will probably kill you, but say that you will only consider his proposal if, let me think, if he can somehow bring you a dress the color of the sky, the exact color of the sky. That's impossible. He won't be able to do that. That's fine. Go with that. That'll work. "Do as I say, my child, and all will be well." So the princess went back and relayed this to her father. He called in the finest seamstresses and tailors in all the land, and just as an extra caveat said that if they didn't manage to bring him a dress the exact color of the sky for his daughter, then he would have every one of them hanged. So somehow, fearing for their lives, they managed to do it. I don't know how. Maybe they like weaved chameleons into the cloth or something, but they somehow made a dress that matched the exact tone of the sky. Said the princess, that is great, but you know, just give me a minute. And off she ran back to see her fairy godmother again. "What am I supposed to do now? He got me the sky dress. He got me the impossible sky dress. As for one the colour of the moon, he won't be able to do that. The moon's too far away. No one knows the exact colour of the moon. I mean, come on, right? Right. Within 4 days, he had managed to get her a beautiful shimmering dress, the exact colour of the moon. How did he do it? I don't know. Maybe he made a deal with some fairies, or like, tackled the moon spinners on their way to wash it. I don't know, but somehow he got her a moon dress. Okay, alright. This time we ask for one as bright and shining as the sun. Alright, let's see him do that. Let's see him make that dress, huh? But shaken now and nervous about all of this, the fairy godmother decided that she would come along with the princess this time and keep herself invisible to watch what happened. Upon requesting this dress that shined as brightly as the sun did, the king managed to threaten the greatest jeweler in the country into making a dress out of threads that were spun from gold and diamonds, and somehow this shatteringly bright dress was made that no one could look at because it was as shining as the sun was. The princess just stared at this dress aghast. I mean, probably shouldn't have been staring at it because she'll go blind, but she heard a whisper in her ear from her fairy godmother saying, "I've got it. Ask for the skin of his prized gold-pooping donkey. He'll never give you that. He loves that donkey too much." The king, so determined at this point to win his own daughter as his bride, immediately ordered that the donkey be killed and skinned. Well, that didn't work. That plan backfired. Alright, time to abort, we're getting you out of the country. Go, go, go. The princess locked herself in her bedroom and the fairy godmother started casting spells willy-nilly to create this magnificent magical chest that would hold all of her belongings in it, all of her jewels, all of her makeup and fancy mirrors and things, and especially the 3 dresses that the king had made for her. Here, she said, put on the donkey skin. No one will think you're a princess while you're wearing this hideous donkey skin. And so the princess put on the donkey skin, and the fairy godmother pressed her wand into the princess's hand and said, as long as you hold this magical chest will follow you wherever you go, but like underground so no one can see it. If you ever need something from the chest, just touch the wand to the ground and up it'll pop and you can pull stuff out of it. But for now you have to be in disguise. You have to ditch your name, you have to only wear this donkey skin so no one will question whether you're royalty, and you need to get out and you need to run. And the fairy godmother spirited her outside and the princess began to travel, running away from her home. By the time anyone had even noticed that she was missing, she'd already rushed off into the next country over and was begging for a place to stay or work. But she was such a hideous creature wearing this donkey skin. Of course, people didn't know what to do with her. She couldn't be a princess, of course not. She's wearing a donkey skin. Eventually, she found a small kitchen on a very large farm that took her in and accepted her work. And here she was exposed to the ridicule of the other servants who all called her donkey skin. But at least that makes my job easier because now the character's got a name. Now, this very large farm where donkey skin had wound up was also home to a menagerie and an aviary. Aviary? A place where they keep birds. Of the king of this country. And the prince would sometimes come past after he'd been hunting with his friends and they would sit and they'd relax on the balcony with a lemonade, where Donkey Skin would watch from the window as she worked and kind of crush on the prince a little bit. Inside she was like, yeah, I may be wearing donkey skin, but deep down, you know, buddy, I'm royalty too. How you doing? While she worked 6 days of the week, every Sunday Donkey Skin would be given the day off, and she would go and she would lock herself in the room that she'd been given, and she would bathe. Finally, take off the donkey skin and put on the beautiful dresses she'd been given by her creepy ass father. And she'd just have a little party all by herself. Dancing with myself. Just to the nines and dancing around her tiny room. One of these Sundays, the prince just happened to have gotten back from a hunt with his pals and started snooping around the farmhouse. Just because, I don't know, I guess he's some kind of big old snoop. When he hears some singing and laughter from inside of Donkey Skin's room. And he thinks, who's in there? Who's in there singing to themselves? And he goes to look through the keyhole, but he's blinded! He's blinded in his eyes! It was like the light of the sun! Shaking off the daze, he went for another peek to see if this time he could identify what it was that was so shiny without being blinded. But no, this time the princess had donned her beautiful blue sky dress, and the prince was breathtaking. Breathtaking? The sight was breathtaking. His breath, it took his breath away. You know what I'm saying. And he decided in that moment that he was in love with this girl in the room. He rushed to the owners of the household and said, whose room is this? I need to know this woman's name. And they said, are you okay? Because that's Donkey Skin's room, alright? And she's hideous, so
I don't know who you're talking about, but it certainly ate her. But this didn't deter the prince one iota. He headed back home and started making a big deal out of it, saying that he wasn't gonna eat anything unless it was a cake made by Donkey Skin's hands. The queen, his mother, was understandably pretty concerned about this, and in order to stop her son from starving himself to death, she went to the farmhouse to inquire about what the hell he was talking about. I don't know what's going on, she said, but my son wants donkey skin cake? That sounds disgusting. Said the farm people, he's talking about a girl. There's a girl who works here that we call Donkey Skin because she wears donkey skin and she's super gross. So I mean, you can at least take comfort in knowing that he doesn't want a cake made of donkey skin, I suppose. But you probably don't want a cake made by her because she's gross. She's really gross. There's nothing for it though, said the queen. He's gonna starve to death if I don't bring him this cake, so just get her to make one and I'll take it back with me. Donkey Skin was so excited. She was getting to make a cake for her crush. Rather than do this in the kitchen where everyone could see, she decided to go and wash off and do this properly, and she wore normal person clothes for the day, locked in her room, just making this cake. But in such a rush was she to get this done and get it done well, that a ring, a golden ring with an emerald gem in it, slipped off her finger and into the dough without her realizing. Later on, stuffing his face with Donkey Skin's cake, choked on the ring and spat it out into his hand. Aha, he said, perfect. I agree, parents, that I will marry whoever's finger fits this ring. Because of course, somehow, only one person in all the world can wear a ring. Because the prince knew that this ring would belong to his beloved Donkey Skin. But his parents just looked and saw a gold ring with an emerald gem and thought, okay, well, I mean, whoever owns this can't be that bad a match for our son, I guess. So sure, we'll do this. I feel like there's something up, but we'll go with it. So off went the prince around the country, testing all the women's fingers to see if the ring would fit. Meanwhile, charlatans the country over had started telling women, psst, by the way, the prince is coming to find the woman who fits this ring and he's gonna take her as his bride. While he's busy checking all the royals and nobles to see if it's gonna fit their hands, why don't you get a leg up, ladies of the lower classes, and try grating your fingers down with a cheese grater, or burning some of the skin off with acid, because I hear that that ring will only fit a very slender finger. There's your tip of the day from me. But no matter how they cut or grated or acid burned their fingers to be thinner, none of the women could make this ring fit onto their fingers. Or none of their fingers were slender enough. Until finally every single woman in the country had tried it on, except for Donkey Skin. All of the prince's advisors said, no sir, no, you don't want to marry Donkey Skin, don't even let her try it. But he said, why not? Because we all know that he was in love with her, and he called her over and said, come on, come over here, Donkey Skin. And he tried the ring on, and it fit her perfectly. The prince took Donkey Skin back to his palace with him, and announced to his mother, this woman fit the ring, and so she will be my bride. Still there, all in her donkey furs. The queen was not superbly impressed, but decided, fine, you know what? Whatever, I'm sick of you. Just do what you want. The prince was about to take Donkey Skin in to meet his father to announce his intentions of marrying her, but Donkey Skin quietly asked, would it be possible for me to just go and get changed in the other room real quick? Everybody in the room sighed in relief. Yes, please do. If you hadn't asked, we probably would have insisted. Go get changed into something more formal, perhaps. And out she came, wearing one of her glorious dresses. Which one? I don't know, but I like to think that it was the blinding sundress and just no one could look at her. Oh! It burns my eyes! Oh, she must just be so beautiful that I can't even look at her. I have to avert my gaze. And so the king and queen were very happy with this arrangement, and they called for the wedding to be prepared for the very next day. And everyone came from many different kingdoms, including Donkey Skin's dad. He showed up, saw his daughter, and embraced her in a hug that I can only imagine would have been the most awkward experience in the world for Donkey Skin. You know, don't mind me, just been avoiding your weird, incestuous advances for the last 6 months, but alright, give me a hug, sure. As it turned out, the king had found a widow who was just as beautiful and wise and charming as his previous wife had been, and he didn't have to pursue his daughter after all. Ah, that's crazy that he could have just, you know, looked for someone who he wasn't related to. Who'd have thought? And then the fairy godmother showed up at that moment to tell everyone the full story of what had happened, which I hope left the king incredibly ashamed and ridiculed by every other country around. Come to think of it, his new wife was probably a bit grossed out too. And so everyone managed to live happily ever after, except for the donkey that pooped gold. But I mean, hey. And I mean, probably some of the women who burnt half their fingers off with acid. That was the story of Donkey Skin. I know I've heard it before under another name. I'm pretty sure there was a Jim Henson's Storyteller episode that was based on a story very, very similar to this, but I cannot for the life of me think of what that story was called. If you enjoyed the video, then please do consider giving it a thumbs up, because it's a great little way to help out a video that doesn't cost you anything, and it just, you know, it kicks up the sort of placement in searches of videos that you like. So giving the thumbs up is a really cool thing that you can do. Also, while you're down there, you might consider sharing this video on your favorite social media website. I am on many of those social media websites and my links are in the description below if you would like to follow me there. Or tell someone you know in real life about these videos. That always makes me really happy. Word of mouth is just such a great way to share someone's creations online. Also, leave me a comment telling me more Faerie Daels that you would like to hear. For Faerie Daels, the first place I go every time is to the comments to look for other suggestions people have made, because I feel like you guys, you've all heard such weird, fantastic, different ones from everywhere, so leave me a comment telling me some suggestions, some favourites of yours that I could cover sometime. This shirt is another Loot Crate level up shirt. I never got the level up crate for Quest, and I'm a little sad about it because there was apparently a really cool Princess Bride shirt in there, but you know, whatever. This was the latest level up shirt. But the reason I'm telling you this is that I recently found out that you can now use my discount code on Level Up, as well as Loot Crate Prime. I don't know what to call that. The crates themselves and Level Up. If you've been looking into Loot Crate, if you've been wondering about Level Up, because I love the Level Up stuff, and you were just thinking that maybe it costs a little bit too much, you can get 10% off. There's a link below, definitely check that out. That way you can save a little money, I can make a little money, and we all get cool geeky stuff. For now, I do believe that that's it. I'm done. Email this to your grandma, and I will see you some other time! It is specifically noted in Perot's telling of the story that when she came out in her shiny, fabulous dress and not her donkey skin, her waist was so tiny that 2 hands could have encircled it. And that's not cute. That's not a thing to aspire towards. That's unhealthy. Why the hell are you telling people that that's a pretty thing, Perot? Cut that out.